Arks snow owl. Everyone's favorite extinction flyer, snow owls are Arctic-bound aerial predators that have evolved from Earth's owls before the element wars. Adapted to the coldest climates on the planet, while Helena states that these owls were found in only the cold biodome around the remnants of the old Earth city on extinction, I theorize they most likely originate around the lost colony's wilds, feeding on what's left of the local wildlife, such as valewinds, which were also descendants of previously existing foxes before the war. Similarly to today's owls, the snow owl is nearly completely silent during flight, allowing it to descend on prey without making any noise. This is possible because of the large wings compared to the body proportions, with the addition of serrated edges lining their flight feathers that help break up flight turbulence that create sound waves, as well as the soft down layer that absorbs other remaining sounds. And lastly, a trailing edge fringe that disrupts air vortices that are the usual cause for the whoosh you hear on most flying creatures and objects. Snow owls and owls in general possess highly adapted feet for grasping branches and prey, these feet being known as zygodactyl, where two toes face forward and two backwards. While unlike most birds of prey, owls have the ability to pivot their outer back toe forward to assist in either perching, walking, or capturing its food. The owl seems to have lost this trait and no longer can pivot its toe, but seemingly doesn't need to, with its size being a bit too large to perch on any branches in the remaining trees on Earth. Another trait snow owls share with their ancestors is the ability to regurgitate groups of undigested foods, such as bones, fur, feathers, and teeth. These are present in owl pellets, which are formed in one of the two chambered stomachs owls have, while the second one, which is called the gizzard, will hold and compress the indigestible pieces of food that owls' first stomachs cannot break down. These pellets are then regurgitated and can often be found with entire intact skeletons within them. Which, by the way, I'm gonna go on a little bit of a rant. Um, how can the snow owls be only found within the biodome if gotchas enjoy eating the pellets? The way that most creatures work is that they will eat only what they know is edible to them, meaning they have to have some sort of interaction with them beforehand. Gotchas being a a form of sloth, which maybe we'll talk about at some point in the future, um, meaning that they came from the same time period and evolved alongside the snow owl, maybe not in the same environment, does mean that there was some overlay between the two. So this is just absurd to assume that they would only be in the biodome. I understand that they didn't plan on exploring the other half of the planet in the lore previously, from what I gather, at least the developers didn't. But how do you overlook this? How, even without having a degree in ecology or biology, I can understand that there has to be some sort of correlation between the two, and that they have definitely interacted in a, like, coexisting environment previously. It's so odd to me. It's so strange. It's so strange. Anyway, sorry, just oh my god, just a real quick rambling rant that I wanted to go on about this because it was bothering me the entire time I was writing this script about gotchas eating the owl pellets, but I didn't want to address it in this until like now, and yeah, sorry. Just, ah Helena, why? Why? These birds of prey also have a very similar tactic to the Cryolophosaurus, freezing targets. It seems as if the snow that accumulates on their wings may serve as a benefit with their body temperatures melting the snow so as they crash into their prey. The speed and wind chill of the descent creates an almost flash freeze that holds its prey in place for a short period. I also feel like I should note right now, I am not covering the healing properties for the snow owl. I know that's like a main mechanic in the game, especially for the owl in general. It's kind of part of what makes it really useful. I don't know how I'm supposed to explain how ice heals something. Listen, I try really hard to do my research to do these things. I just don't want to for the healing abilities of the snow owl. I really don't. It's it's going to be some convoluted thing, and most of how I cover how these creatures in Ark work, these very fantastical creatures, sci-fi-esque kind of things, is already very convoluted, and I really, really don't want to. It it's oh my god. I don't know how to explain outside of potentially the owl itself acts as a heat sink, which then lowers the temperature of the creatures it's touching, making the surrounding air like moisture to then accumulate onto the creature, making a coat of ice. But how does that heal? You know what I mean? It doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. It, at least not in any way that I want to do extensive research on to figure out for you guys. I apologize, but I really, really would like to avoid covering that, at least until possibly a future date. Where with a different creature that I cover. I know that I'm pretty sure I covered it with the healing breath of the Aureliacs, but that one felt a little more in the realm of possibility in my head, where you could use electricity to, accelerate the healing process of of a body. But either way, point being, I apologize that that I'm not going to be covering it. Um, I just I felt like I need to let that out there for anybody who might be like, oh well, you missed a part. I know it was intentional. The eyes and attached antenna are incredibly interesting. The glowing present from the element that has built up and accumulated in these areas is caused from the energy within element, ionizing the surrounding air, ripping electrons away from the oxygen and nitrogen. Because of this concentration of element present on the face, it's begun creating pits and crevices that possibly act similar to those found on snakes, being nerve-dense, highly vascular tissues that allow them to function similar to heat-sensing cameras. These pits then map out warm-blooded prey by allowing the owl to detect the infrared heat the prey radiates. As for the antenna, these somehow allow the owl to share this vision with their rider. I speculate that with the element, they act as almost miniature radio towers by radiating nanoparticles into the rider's eyes that absorb the infrared light and convert it into visible light for the rider to see the heat signatures as well. With these tools, the snow owl may fill a similar niche to today's owls, feeding on comparatively smaller prey in the night, managing populations of creatures as an apex aerial predator, helping balance the odds and sparse ecosystem that was left after the wars. Arks snow owl is an incredibly adapted creature, being a descendant of one of the most successful aerial predators of our time, and living up to the legacy of its ancestors. With the reseed protocol in full effect at the end of our time in Lost Colony, I fear that the snow owls we know may not survive outside of the potentially polar areas that may remain. This, along with the element purge, potentially eliminating any presence of it within their bodies, either forcing them to either adapt or be driven to extinction on the Earth entirely. We know that massive and quick shifts in climate have devastating effects on ecosystems, especially with highly adapted megafaunal creatures such as the snow owl. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I was gone for a little bit. We had a little bit of issues trying to figure out how we were going to keep editing and everything because we were having issues with our previous editing software being way too expensive. We've got that sorted now. We're on a much better, much cheaper editing software that does everything the old one does, just free, which is fantastic. And we'll probably eventually work on getting an upgrade. Whatever. Not the point. Point being, thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a minute. I'm trying to get in the groove of things. I was really excited to do the owl for some reason, even if I did leave out a portion of its abilities, that being, the healing and such. But, let me know what creature you guys want me to do next, what one you'd be interested in me covering. It can be one that's kind of fantastical, or it could be one that isn't. I'm alright with doing either or, you know what I mean? Just let me know in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that jazz. Catch me live. I live stream all the time. If you're, frequent to the channel, you know that already. But catch me live. Join the Discord through the live streams and stuff like that, and keep up with this kind of stuff as it comes out. And just thank you so much for watching, guys. For the support, for all of that. Thank you so much. Yeah, stay hydrated, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! These birds of prey also have a very similar tactic to the Cryolophosaurus, freezing targets. It seems as if the snow that accumulates... Oh, Why? As for the antenna, these somehow allow the owl to share this vision with their rider. I speculate that with the element, they act as almost miniature radio towers by radiating nanoparticles into the rider's eyes that absorb the infrared right as compared to the infrared left, Yeah, you're just an infrared rat, aren't you? Yeah. God. Arks snow owl is an incredibly adapted predator, being a descendant of the most successful aerial predators of our time. Yep, repeat predator twice. Repeat predator twice. Yep, that's a great idea. Ah! 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 Who wrote this script?